everyone. Thank you for being here. Sorry to start a whole job. So we have, of course, a very exciting announcement to make today. And let me first, she is not here. She could not be in attendance. But first and foremost, I want to thank and recognize Sonia Sanchez, the city's first Poet Laureate. And as I mentioned, she could not be here today, but certainly been a big fan of hers for a long time. And we thank her for taking on this great challenge. We do have Siduri Beckman is with us today. She's our first Youth Poet Laureate, a great sophomore at Masterman High School. And thanks, Siduri, for being here and her work. You're going to hear from Beth Feldman Brandt, who's a poet, of course, in her own right, and executive director of the Stockton Rush Bartle Foundation. She's, of course, also a member of the Poet Laureate Governing Committee. I want to thank Dr. Kathy Cohen, Education Director at Artwell, Greg Corbin, Founder and Executive Director of the Philadelphia Youth Poetry Movement, Thomas Devaney, Poet and Visiting Assistant Professor of Poetry at Haverford College, Lillian Dunn, Co-Founder and Executive Director of Apiary Magazine, Al Filaries, Kelly Writer's House at the University of Pennsylvania, Matali Jagathan, poet and principal of Itinerant Inc., and Trapita Mason, who is a poet, and Autumn McClintock, who's a poet and assistant chief of staff at the Free Library of Philadelphia. Can we please give all of our members of the Poet Laureate Governing Committee a big round of applause? And for any of you whose names I completely tortured, please forgive me. I am very privileged to make this announcement today. We're here to announce the second Poet Laureate for the city of Philadelphia. Philadelphia, of course, is known worldwide for its arts and culture, from the Philadelphia Museum of Art, the Avenue of the Arts, more than 3,000 murals all around this great city, the Rodin Museum, the Barnes Museum, and so many more. It is evident that Philadelphians and Philadelphia loves and appreciates the arts. The Poet Laureate is a representative of our unique and beloved arts culture. And today I'm very happy to announce that Frank Sherlock has been nominated by the Poet Laureate Governing Committee, and I am appointing him as the second official Poet Laureate of the city of Philadelphia. Please. We have to work with you on those cues. There are certain moments. Frank's work is unique because he engages poetry as an interactive and public art form. He is read at various universities and poetry centers throughout the country. His most notable works are Neighbor Ballads, a South Philadelphia integration public art project with the Mural Arts Program back in 2011, Over Here, Factory School, 2009, a collaborative with Brett Evans entitled Ready to Eat Individual, that was Lavender Inc., 2008, and a book-length poem written with 2011 Pew Fellow C.A. Conrad through the public spaces of Philadelphia, the City Reel, and Imagined, and that was Factory School, 2010. Later this year, Frank will tour Chile and Argentina to support Huacli, a Spanish-language collection of his work translated by Carlos Soto Roman to be published by Chile's Das Capital Press. The Poet Laureate position will serve a term of 2 years and will participate in various events throughout the city, including spoken word and poetry readings right here at City Hall, author events at the Free Library, and community service events that use poetry to promote, unite, and define our city. This summer, Frank will also help select a second Youth Poet Laureate and serve as that person's mentor. I am very confident that Frank will carry out the duties of the Poet Laureate with flying colors. I'm very excited for him to pick up the pen, literally, where Sonia Sanchez left it. Frank Sherlock, the city of Philadelphia is very lucky to have you as our Poet Laureate. And with that, let me introduce Beth Feldman Brandt.
Thank you. And I just want to, on behalf of poets and writers everywhere in the city, thank the mayor for recognizing the power of poetry in Philadelphia. and thank the Poet Laureate Governing Committee who brought this great range of perspectives to the selection process. And these are people who all live and breathe poetry as educators, as poets, as publishers, as performers. So we put out an open call in the city to see anyone who could demonstrate a body of work of poetry, who had a commitment to the field of poetry in the city, and also had a record of service to the community, because we viewed this not just as a poetry position, which it of course is foremost, but it's also a civic position to advocate and represent and kind of rabble-rouse for poetry in the city, and to engage young people, to bring energy and commitment all over the city through poetry. So 26 very talented poets applied and submitted not just their writing, but also their vision for what the Poet Laureate position could be. Then the committee, bless them, everybody read all of the applications, looked at all of the videos, read all of the poetry, and then we actually met with a few candidates, and it was not an easy decision. But Frank spoke so eloquently about his deep Philadelphia roots and how this part of his essence as a Philadelphian is part of his essence as a person and part of his essence as a poet, and how the Philadelphia writing community had supported him through some tough times, and now that he really wanted to stay and give back to the community. He talked about his father, a hotel doorman who could tell you stories about everybody who came in and out and walked up and down the street. And he proposed an idea that we just fell in love with, which was called writing your block, where people would actually go out in their neighborhood and write poems about their block and their neighbors and their neighborhood. Needless to say, taking on the mantle from Sonia Sanchez is a big load to carry, but we're very confident that Frank will bring his love of this city, block by block, word by word, to inspire and to challenge us. I'm pretty sure he's going to make some noise. So it is my really great honor to introduce to you Frank Sherlock as the second Poet Laureate of Philadelphia. What'd I do?
You did fine. Hold on.
Wait, there's more. Since we do have one of our Poet Laureates here, we do not have Sanchez, but we do have Sidori Beckman, who's the Youth Poet Laureate. She's actually going to read for us first, which is a treat. Sidori?
Good morning, everybody. I'm really honored to be here to meet my new mentor, Frank, and I'm very excited to work with you. And it is really important to understand what a significant position the Poet Laureate is, because as Youth Poet Laureate, I feel like I'm engaged with so many different people across the entire Philadelphia community in just a year, and I still have 6 months left, and I'm just so honored to have this position. And it's been a year since I was in this room being inaugurated, and it's been a great year, and I'm excited for more things that can happen and more change that can happen in our great poetic city. So I'm going to read a poem called Moving On. It seems we cure ourselves of ills, America. The gross clinic left too little to examine. For as I lay dying in leaves of grass, biting my farewell to arms, legs, and life, watching the red from my badge of courage drain into a scarlet letter, there they are, caught 22 times over, shipped to Slaughterhouse 5. But this used to be beloved. John's flag flew high above mice and men before we cut down Walden Woods to build the silver factory. Great Gatsby life used to roar this peaceable kingdom, but now nighthawks ravage the land as savage lulls the harp to grow grapes of wrath. If it's a sin to kill a mockingbird, why isn't America singing? In this house of lions, Moby Dick's fat lights the way. Thank you. And now you shall hear from our new Poet Laureate, Frank.
All right, thank you very much. Firstly, I'm glad that technology did not fail me at this moment, because that would have been something. Some like to think they're too tough to die. Tried, tested, found true. Some are tough enough to live for each other. Tough enough to make the great migration for the warmth of other suns. The Best of My Love soundtracks the park where a woman shares her first meal with a stranger. Tough enough to survive deadly disease and Jim Crow on the avenue. She gets tired of being told the streets are falling apart and connects the kids together. Tough enough to know that that future woman or this future man is always paying attention. Some are tough enough to never leave and build upon a rock. A place for food, for play, a place to get it together. Those charming young ladies and those college kids and that congressman and those old busy bees can't forget the smile. She's tough enough to give the best of her love, and that is just too tough to die. It's for Mrs. Dorothy Allen, Point Breeze, South Philly. It's through my work with language that brings me here today, but I can't find words to express the gratitude that I have for this city that raised me, beat me up a few times, and still reveals Philadelphia otherly love. And I want to thank Mayor Nutter for creating this position and for your commitment to the arts that continues to make this a place, a vital center for creativity. And thanks also to the committee for your culture work and dedication to advance poetry's place in the fabric of our everyday lives. And of course, it's a dream to be a successor to the great Sonia Sanchez, this city's enduring force for poetry, for social justice, and a commitment to young people through her literary work and through her face-to-face mentorship. She can't be here today, but I did speak with her this week, and she assured me that I would have her ear for the next 2 years in order to share the grace and fire that she embodies. And I'm happy to be a face for Philadelphia poetry, but I'm just one agent. This city of Lamont Steptoe, this city of Rachel Blau Duplessis, this city of C.A. Conrad, this city of Ursula Rucker, this city of Lynn Dinn, the city of Carlos Soto Roman, because we adopted him, the city of Ixnay Press, this city of the Kelly Writers House, this city that has become a destination for young writers from Massachusetts to Colorado to come here to work and live and contribute to this poem called Philadelphia. And I'm happy to represent during the creation of this collaborative piece that is being written now in the subway, in school, in church, in a bar, on the corner, this poem called Philadelphia. And I'll commence with a work written for an artist who embodies the hustle, fight, and generosity of this city. This is for Zoe Strauss on the occasion of her retrospective at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. You can feel good about I-95 when you take a walk underneath. Feel good about rocking black lip liner. Your shirtless muscle pose is something you can flex and feel good about. You can feel good about life in this ditch because you know that your future starts here. You can. You know you can feel. You can feel good about the love of your life in a snapshot left on a box spring. A gun and a bun in the oven is something you can feel good about. You can feel good about beating the giants. Yes. You can feel good about the skin you're in, even if it's been broken. You can feel good about the firefighter and the wonder of fireworks at once. Show off your tattoos and feel good. I feel it. Feel good about falling in love without government sanction. Flip the bird to the law and feel good. You can feel good about your wave cap when it's tied just right. Can you feel how good this feels, this blinking sign of redemption? You can feel good about smoking in bed and not waking up in a fire. You can, you. You can feel good about dollar magic. Feel good about letting your jewels hang out. Silly string from an overhead wire is something. You can feel good about Froggy Car. Feel good about making love in Centralia. Rome can make you. The Sherpa Petrofest makes you feel good and hungry. You can feel good about gangster ink on your face. You can feel that smooth bicentennial round ball. Go ahead and say it. It's so, so good. Julius Irving. I told you now, didn't I? You can feel good about yours. It's the first one of its kind in the world. Feel good about being young, crazy, rich, flashy. Feel good about the fleur-de-lis. You can feel good about dollar, 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 dollar. Just don't be a pig about it. Couples touching tongues will make you feel ooh la la. He wrote dirty jokes in the store of the stars just so you could feel good. Feel him. You can feel good about dignity under the L. You can feel good about half of everything and the half that seems to be missing. Just feel for it. You can feel good about the most that we feared has turned out to be empty and barren. Drinking a Bud can with one pinky up will make you feel pretty classy. You can feel like feeling like any day you might be a star. Feel good about making out with a stranger on a day that you come out and drag. Some days you feel for the dead, R.I.P. You can feel good about your exit wounds because of what you've held on to. Let's feel good and meet me under the overpass because now is the time to be close. Thanks.
So what do you really say after that? I have no notes for that one. We'll be glad to try to answer any questions that you might have about today's announcement. But please, one more time, give it up for Frank Sherlock. It's okay. That's all right. Any questions from the media about today's announcement? And Frank and Beth and Sudhiri, thank you so very much. And apparently you can feel good. Yes. Anything? Okay. Thank you all very much. Thanks for being out here today. And Frank, I look forward to working with you. And Beth, thank you very much. And Sudhiri, keep up the great work as our Youth Poet Laureate and in school. Take care, and it's time for you to go back to school. See you later. Bye-bye.